Welcome to Art Loves Fashion. I'm your host, Sharonda Irving. I'm an image consultant, professional developer, art curator and collector, a wife and a mom. This show, Art Loves Fashion, is about, you guessed it, art, love, and fashion. We'll be meeting new people, trying interesting things, and hopefully learning something new. Sounds kind of vague, right? That's because I want you to join me on Sundays at 5 o'clock as we take a journey of all things creative and beautiful with art, loves, fashion. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Art Loves Fashion. I am your host, Sharonda Irving, and today is a super exciting day. We made it through the first I will say I'm coming up on the unexpected spring break thanks to COVID-19. Everybody's got COVID-19 on the brain. The studio has been sanitized. Mics have been sanitized. Hands have been wiped. So we will be working diligently to stay healthy, as I'm sure that you guys will be as well. I actually have my phone on right here because I'm going live on Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram, or if you don't follow me on Instagram, I'm at Sharonda Irving at Instagram. And what's this for? For my phone? Oh, okay. Hey, he gave me a little stand so I can put my phone on it. Okay, all right now. I'm getting real tech savvy with it. All right, so I've got a few things that I want to cover today, and I'm going to try to do a better job of following my show clock. It is 12 minutes after. All right, cool. So we got about 45 minutes to chop it up on three really exciting topics. So the first topic today, we're going to be talking about art. I'm going in order today. So what's our music today? I don't know. We didn't cue any music. We do? All right. You know, everybody's a little bit discombobulated with the COVID. People probably been up all morning at the grocery stores. All right. Oh, yes. You can actually go ahead and show that image. It's fine. Hey, those of you guys who are watching on Listen Vision Live, I hope you can see the image that is on your screen. I wish I had like a little interactive. How many people know who this person is? Raise your hand. Yay. All right, so you're seeing on your screen the incomparable, the fantastic, the famous, the iconic Gordon Parks. And so today's art segment is going to be, I'm over here so busy grooving. Today's art segment is going to be about the incomparable, inimitable Gordon Parks. So I happen to be looking, because as you guys know, my husband and I, we take a look at, he is an avid newspaper reader, and we read the magazines and that kind of thing. And I'm always looking for new information and seeing what's going on in the world of art, love, and fashion. And they never disappoint. So I happened to be flipping through one of the magazines, and I saw this portrait of Muhammad Ali, a photograph of Muhammad Ali. And so I read it. It was a very short blurb. And the blurb was about this new exhibit that's coming up of Muhammad Ali that was done by Gordon Parks. And so, of course, I had to dig in a little bit deeper because Gordon Parks happens to be one of my personal favorites. And so as I dug a little bit deeper, I realized that he has, of course, he has a website, but then he has his website is called the Gordon Parks Foundation, and it gives you all of the information about what's going on with his works. And his works are consistently in museums across the world. But you can go to his website and see where exactly they are. There's some he's got permanent exhibits in several major cities. He's got permanent exhibits in New Jersey, in New York. He's got permanent exhibits, where else? Because I wrote it down. New York, New Jersey, Chicago, I believe California. And so, but this particular exhibit is going to be going on in, I'll look it up. I'll pull it up. I'll pull up the current exhibit. But I wanted to really kind of not only just talk about the exhibit, but I wanted to talk a little bit about Gordon Parks himself. Because as my intro says, I want you to walk away not only finding out some new information or not only having a good time with what's current, but I want you to walk away learning something. And so I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about Gordon Parks, because Gordon Parks is one of our icons who is considered to be a true Renaissance man. And usually when we talk about Renaissance men, we are talking about someone who is skilled and well established across several different art genres and different content. Gordon Parks, who he was born, he was born, I think, in Oklahoma. And he bought his first camera out of a pawn shop. And he basically taught himself how to take pictures. And he got so good that he basically was hired by he got this job in the federal government, starting out in the Farm Security Administration. And he got started in the photography department of the Farm Security Administration. And he was so good that they kept him on, and eventually he moved over to the Office of War Information. And so that's kind of how he started to develop his iconic style of really capturing real life and really being able to bring the spirit of the people into his work. And so he started to sort of develop this really unique and different style. And then through that development, he sort of began to really hone his attention in on social justice, as we would name it now, but using his camera to highlight civil rights or racism, poverty, and culture. And so as he began to highlight those areas, he just started to get this world-renowned acclaim. He became so good that he actually was the first African-American staff photographer and writer for Life magazine. And that was in 1948. And he stayed with Life magazine for over 20 years, capturing the poverty within the United States. He went all over the world, and through Life magazine, he developed, and this picture right here, and those of you who are watching on live, you have to go to Listen Vision Live, but he went to Brazil and he started to capture the life and culture of Brazilians at that time. And this particular photograph is of the favelas. And we see that a lot now, but at that time it was really groundbreaking. And if you could see at the top is that famous statue of Jesus Christ. I forgot the name of it, but it's a really iconic, famous landmark within the world, but that's one of the favelas at the foot of that particular statue. And so there was one particular story that he did in this series about a little boy named Flavio. And Flavio lived in this particular favela. And what happened was he captured all of these images of Flavio and his family and what life was like for them. And the world came to know about this child. He had severe asthma and all of these different issues. And he was basically through the photographs that show how this little boy basically took care of his entire family while being extremely, extremely ill. This particular spread in Life magazine got so much attention that people from all over the world reached out wanting to help this little boy. They flew him out of Brazil so he could get high-tech treatment for his asthma. He was living abroad. He was living in the United States for several years. He got educated, he got a job and all of that. He did eventually have to go back to Brazil, and you would have to look up Flavio to find out exactly what happens to him. But then this particular photograph shows another one of his iconic photos where they did, and people have seen this one or something similar, where they asked the children in the inner city, black kids, show them the doll babies, the brown doll baby and the white doll baby, and which one do they prefer. And sadly, they usually pick the white one, and the poor little boy is looking so confused, he doesn't understand. But it was those early explorations into how racism and poverty affect people of color in the United States. And he goes on to capture these kinds of photos. He also was able to go into the Nation of Islam at that time, capture iconic photos of what their life and culture was like. And he really had the attention of the nation, because he was capturing some really, really amazing images. So the other piece, the reason why we call Gordon Parks a Renaissance man is that he not only was a photographer, he was a writer. He was also a filmmaker. And he was a painter. And he was super fly too, let's just say. His film that we all know about is Shaft, that came out in 1971. And Shaft was a huge success, groundbreaking film for the black community. And it was written and I believe directed by Gordon Parks. And so his work is not only fantastic, and there's an image of Gordon Parks and Richard Roundtree going through some of the the cuts for the day, or the filming for the day. And there we see him with his fantastic toggle coat. Yes, Richard Roundtree with his leather on. And so he continued to work until he died in 2006. Here's my note. So one of the other places, we are so fortunate here in Washington, D.C., one of his other exhibits there is an exhibit on permanent display at the Smithsonian as well. So if you're here in Washington, D.C., and you want to know a little bit more, you want to see some of the works of Gordon Parks, you can go and visit the Smithsonian Museum when it opens back up. One of the other reasons why I wanted to share about Gordon Parks is that if you go to his website, you can click on some of the exhibits and you'll be able to see some of his photographs. So at this time, in the current climate, in the current, high state of health precautions, we're looking for creative things to do. And you can go online and go into the Gordon Parks Foundation, and you can see some of his exhibits. The one that caught my eye is the one about Muhammad Ali that is currently going to be exhibiting. I wonder if they're going to change the dates because of some of the restrictions on gatherings, and a lot of the public places are closing. But I do have a couple of the images from that particular exhibit, and they are stunning. It gives us a look into Muhammad Ali, not only from his athletic perspective, but it really does show some of his humanity. You got to go past them. That's not him. Yes, there. Okay, so this is the one that was in the magazine. That was the first image that I saw, and then I went onto the website and I saw a few of the other images, and I just selected a couple that really, for me, gave us another lens into Muhammad Ali, because they talk, if you listen to or watch some of the stories about Muhammad Ali, they talk a lot about his spirit outside of the boxing ring and how he really was this a gentle person, super charismatic, not in the way that the media tends to portray him, which is super loud and gregarious, but in these other kind of caring ways that pulled people in and drew people to him because of his spirit and his intelligence and his nature. And so I just pulled out a couple that I thought were really interesting, but I encourage you to, did I put them on there? Yeah, there's another one. I love this one. I thought it was beautiful. We know that Muhammad Ali was a practicing Muslim, but in this particular photograph, just that moment of giving honor to your creator, before you're doing whatever it is you're doing, and just taking that moment of introspection and giving honor, I thought was it shows the humility of prayer, but it shows how a strong man like this could also be, a praying man. So I really, really love this one. And then I think I have another one of him, laying down. It looks like I thought he was in a locker room, but then he has on a suit. So I don't know where he is, but he's got on a suit. He's lounging. There's his whole entourage in the room, and he's reading an article of himself. And to me, the juxtaposition of him fully suited, laying down, reading, but the magazine picture is of him with, in the boxing stance with his mouth wide open, doing his iconic trash talking. I just love how those two images contradict or complement even the many sides of Muhammad Ali. So I would strongly encourage you to go to the Gordon Parks Foundation website. We love Gordon Parks so much that as we went and we looked through the website itself, we also were compelled to give a donation because, as you know, a lot of times what happens with Black artists in the Black community, as when we die, or sometimes our finances and our royalties don't always survive with us or our family members. And so we try to support in whatever way that we can. And I don't know if that's the case, but we try to support wherever we can. And we love him, so we wanted to make sure that we spread our love in another way. We want to walk the walk as we talk the talk. So that's the art segment at Gordon Parks. Doing an exhibit on Muhammad Ali and several other different exhibits. And so I hope I encourage you, if you happen to go and you enjoy it, hit me up on social media and let me know what you thought about it. Hey, so we're going to transition. And we're going to transition into our love section. So love. It's springtime, and normally we say love is in the air. Normally, the birds are chirping and folks are getting outside and starting to come alive with the spring weather. But not so right now. Take a moment of silence for everybody who is trying to figure out what their life is getting ready to be like in this new state of awareness about our health and how we are interacting with one another. And so I wanted to take a minute to talk about love. There was a book called Love in a Time of Cholera. That was some other crazy disease that happened a really long time ago. If you like to read, if you like the classics, maybe you want to read that, Love in a Time of Cholera. But this is Love in a Time of COVID-19. And so what does that look like? And believe it or not, there's a lot of information and recommendations for people on how to survive this while trying to interact, whether it's dating or whether it's your love relationships with your family and friends. How do we get through this? Now, what made me start to look at this was on Saturday. That was the book, right? On Saturday, my husband and I had gone to, we were out like picking up a few things because we've been sort of slowly, getting ourselves prepared for this. But we stopped at an open air market that we like to go to just in general. And it wasn't crowded. It wasn't a whole bunch of people standing on top of one another, thank God. But what I noticed was I was standing in line at the like butcher table. And so there was a woman who was standing in the front getting her things. And I'm watching because I'm trying to figure out was she going to buy and what was going to be left when I got there. So anyway, she's standing there and she's ordering her stuff. And another woman comes up and is like, hey, so-and-so. And the lady was like, stay back. So abruptly and really like she was not playing at all. Like she did not smile. She did not make nice at all. I assumed that her and this woman had some level of relationship, friendship at the very least. Maybe they were they were moms at the same school or whatever, but they had some form of friendly relationship. And she was like genuinely like, hey, and the lady was like, and the woman was taken aback. She was like, oh, okay then. And she like walked around the lady, but like gave her a wide circumference and walked around her and was like, I see how you're going to be. And when I tell you that lady did not bat her eyes, and when I tell you she was unbothered about the fact that she had just sort of, was a little bit abrupt with her friend, she didn't even bat an eye about that thing. And so it really made me, it gave me pause in terms of how do we handle where we are right now. As we're watching the news, we're hearing all of these terms such as social distancing. That's our new, we all know that it's part of our lexicon now, social distancing. And we another one is flatten the curve. So we're trying to do social distancing, staying back away from people in order to minimize the number of cases that could potentially be hitting and affecting our communities, right? So I started thinking about social distancing and what does that mean for different people and different segments of the population in terms of relationship with one another. And so, because I have a young person and young people, they don't want to sit in the house and do nothing. They want to go out and they want to socialize and they want to be with their friends. So what does social distancing mean for young people right now? She's not a little girl, so I can't keep her in the house and playing, I can't do arts and crafts and I can't, make her take a nap in the middle of the day and things like that to sort of keep her, occupied. She's of an age where her attention and her source of entertainment is amongst her peers. And so, what do you do with that? Right. So then I started to think, so I was looking online a little bit just to see what are some of the recommendations for people who are in relationship during this time of social distancing. And it was so interesting. I enjoyed reading about it. One of the things one article that I read, they were talking about people who are dating. And so they were talking about how when they looked at the data, the amount of people who are actively using the dating websites actually has gone up. Because people are home. They're like, oh, let me get on this dating app and, get to interacting with folks. But one of the things that they were saying is that, and I don't know how this goes. I don't know, like when you go on a dating app and if you are if you're watching the show or you're watching it later, and you are on a dating app, like, let me know, like, what is it? Once you start talking to people, how long does it take before you meet someone on the dating app before you actually go on a date with them, right? So now, do you just keep talking until the COVID, the COVID, social distancing is over and then you go out on a date? Or are people like, hey, I'm still going to date? But one of the things they said was like, so if you do decide to go on a date, no, we're not holding hands. We certainly aren't kissing. But then also, where are you going on your date? And it was talking about, because I've been past a couple of bars where they're having happy hour and the bar is packed and people are all on top of each other. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this does not look like a safe situation. But if you are going out and you're dating someone, be mindful and be very careful about the places that you choose to go. So you're not going to go to the happy hour and be standing right next to somebody who's reaching over you and talking over your cup of tea or your cocktail. You need to be strategic. And so, and then it gave a great suggestion. I thought this was a brilliant suggestion. And you guys may already have done this before, but if you haven't, I want to share it with you. They talked about doing like a video chat date. And this particular suggestion was good for people who are dating, but also for your family members and your friends who you want to catch up with. You might be in a city where you can't really go anywhere and you really want to check in on your friends. During this time of social distancing, you want to still be in contact with your loved ones because it's good for us as human beings to socialize. If you live alone, or you are single with little kids or, with children in general, and you don't really have any other adults to interact with, one of the things you can do is set up I'm not going to say the brand, but a video chat date. And say you and your girls like to get together for margaritas or cosmopolitans. Set up the time that you want to do it and make your own cosmopolitan or margarita at your house and they make theirs at their house and you guys sit and chit chat and chop it up and have your cocktails together via video chat. I thought that was a brilliant idea. So whether you're dating and you're doing a virtual date situation or whether you are catching up with your loved ones, your friends, your elderly family members, if you can get them to, if they know how to do some of this technology, that's how you stay connected, because one of the things that we want to make sure that we are doing is, as we are being cautious and trying to help to flatten the curve, we have to take care of our mental and our emotional health. And one of the ways that we do that is by maintaining human connection. So I thought that was a fantastic suggestion. If you're going to do that, again, hit me up. Let me know how it goes. I would love to hear about it. If you are with me or following me on social media, Sharonda Irving on Instagram, let me know how your video chat goes. Now, that's for people who want to reach out to their loved ones who are not living with you at home. Now, how do you survive or how do you thrive even when you are in housebound with, your loved ones and you're not really going anywhere? So I thought of a few things. The first thing I did, I like doing arts and crafts and creative things like that. So I went and I ordered a few things. I also went to the store. I bought a few arts and crafts things. I got some paint. I got some a couple of little kits to make little crafts and things, because sometimes you want to do something and have a finished product, something that I thought that my teenager might like or that we could do together. And I bought some games. In my house, we do like to play games. We do get competitive. So I bought a couple things that would get the competitive spirit going in my house. We've got some checkers. We've got some chess. We've got regular cards. So we are stocked up for activities that will cause us to be interactive, because I think one of the things we are going to have to be careful about is not overdosing on TV and social media. This is a time where you get to really bond and do some family things. So a few things I wrote down was, I wrote down doing your games, your arts and crafts, but I also wrote down doing some home projects. Time to get into that closet. I'll talk about that for 1 minute at the end of this. Do some home projects. Do some chores, the kind of chores that will require your family to work together. Instead of you going downstairs and washing the dishes, or going in the kitchen and washing dishes and someone being in another room, maybe do some type of chore where everyone is working collectively to get something done. Also, one of the things I wrote down is that we have to continue to move our bodies. So, maybe you and your family set up some sort of exercise regimen. Go online and find some workouts that you can do together so that you are not just sitting at home eating and not moving your body. Again, exercise and movement is a really, really, really positive thing that you can do to keep your mood elevated and to keep you healthy, not only physically, but to keep you healthy emotionally and mentally. And if you're doing it with your family, that builds the family bonding. That's why we're talking about it in the love segment. That builds camaraderie and laughter and bonding within the family. So try some of those things as well. And if you got little kids, doing some sort of exercise routine with them also is great because it gives little kids need to move. And so it's going to give them an opportunity to be able to work out some of that physical energy that they have to get it out. We don't want to be fussing at our children and, being frustrated and them being frustrated because they can't run and play. They can do some little aerobics with you. You better get you some little videos and get the Zumba and doing step aerobics or whatever the newest craze is, and have them exercise alongside with you. And I promise you that you at the end of however long we're going to be together, or however long we will be sort of socially distancing, you will come out feeling better, and you'll come out hopefully with some new rituals being built with your family, and not just that you've sat still and done nothing. That's all right. That's not to say don't binge watch. I already had put on Instagram asking for some recommendations on what are folks binge watching, what are your recommendations, what are some good movies to watch. I'm going to go back and finish the episodes. I talked about the documentary last show about They Gotta Have Us, about blacks in film. So I'm going to finish watching the rest of that. But, what are you watching? Hit me up. Let me know what you're watching. Now, one of the things that I definitely, in your meals, sit down at the table and eat your meals at the table together. That'll burn off some time. You'll talk, you'll, look each other in the eye. You'll find out and catch up with one another about what's going on in your lives and all of that, and tune everything out and reconnect as a family. The last thing that I did want to plug is I talked about getting into your closet. Now is the perfect time to do what is called a closet edit. So I am an image consultant. And one of the services that I offer is closet editing or wardrobe editing. I actually come into your closet. There's a couple of steps, but at some point in the process, I come into your closet and I help you to create a wardrobe that really does serve you well. It really does help to help you put forth your best self through visual means. Now, right now, you aren't going to be inviting people into your home. And right now, I'm not going to be going into people's homes to do a closet edit. But what you can do, you can go to my website, and I have an ebook. It's a workbook. WTF is one of my brands that I use, WTF, What the Fashion. And this particular workbook walks you through a closet editing process for yourself. It can take you a day. It can take you a couple of days, depending on how much clothing you have, depending on how much time you want to devote to doing it. If you have a lot of clothing, I don't recommend you try to do it all in one day, because you're going to exhaust yourself. And when you get tired and get exhausted, you're going to either walk away from it in the middle of the process, or you're going to not feel productive, or you're not going to really get the kind of results that you want if you don't take your time. This particular process is not like the other lady who some people like to follow. They talk about, does it give you joy, and thank it and let go of it. This, which I'm not knocking that has helped a lot of people. And so if it works for you, by all means, go with it. But this particular way is something that image consultants and image professionals use. And this way is to help you to mesh your wardrobe with your your individual needs in terms of your style, in terms of your lifestyle, in terms of your body shape, et cetera, what colors and all that kind of thing. So you would really take your time and go through it. I'll just show you the first part of it. And this is the first part. I don't think you can see. Oh, 3-step process. It's a short process, but I want you to be thoughtful. Define your ideal style. And I've got some questions that you would sort of go through for yourself to help you to define your style. Then how do you perform the actual closet edit? And then how do you make sure that you have the things that you need, the things that you love, and the things that will make you sort of have what I would call a well-curated wardrobe. And so I encourage you to go to my website, download it, and get to work. Now you can get the book by itself. It's $15.99. Or you can get a WTF t-shirt. I started to wear it today, but I forgot. I'll wear it one day or post a picture of it. Get a WTF t-shirt, and then the ebook is free. So you can do it one way or the other. But this is something that will be worth your while, something that will ultimately save you money, save you time, save you space. And some of my clients, I think I put a couple of testimonies up on my website. Clients that I've done this service with, they have seen results based on what their goals were. So I've had clients who their goal was to get a promotion. And at the end of working with me, they got the promotion. I've had clients who their goal was to get out onto the dating scene. After we went through the process and a few other processes, some personal shopping and things like that, dating life picked up. And so it's not an exercise in being frivolous. Don't let people tell you that fashion is frivolous. It really will help you in the morning time when you're like, I have nothing to wear. Go through your closet edit. You'll be ready for work. Oh, so last but not least, and I didn't bring it. Last but not least, as you are figuring out how to deal with love in a time of COVID and social distancing, as you are bonding with your family, take a minute to bond with yourself and do a little bit of self-care as well, because people are feeling stressed, people are feeling anxious, people are feeling overwhelmed and uncertain. And so sometimes in most of the time when you're in those feelings, you got to take a minute and slow down and realign your own energy so that you can be the best you can for yourself and the best you can for your loved ones. And so that's one of the things I actually took a moment to do this morning. And I meant to bring, that's another one of my plugs. I have a self-care box. And in the self-care box, I'll post a picture of it. I happen to leave the house with one of the things that comes in the self-care box. It's a little glass. And it says, I am enough. And so what I do with this, in the self-care box, it comes with a bottle of wine if you like wine to relax. It also comes with tea. So if you want to be clear and you want to be centered, you don't have time to drink wine, or you're not a drinker. You drink a cup of hot tea, or you drink some nice water. There's affirmations in the box. There's a cute WTF t-shirt and some other special goodies that you can indulge in to give yourself a moment of self-care, a moment of realignment, a moment of honoring yourself in the midst of trying to make sure that everyone is okay and make sure that you are okay. So I'm going to post this as well. It's fantastic. When I, and I didn't take a long time. I just took whatever moments that I had to get centered and get quiet and love on myself. And I felt refreshed when I got finished. So Love in a time of COVID means staying connected with the ones you love with the means and methods that you have. Don't let social distancing mean social isolation. I think that that's really, really key. And those of you who are watching live, you have to excuse me. I am looking at Instagram live. So pardon me if I'm looking all over the place. I'm back looking at you. So the final segment, and I'm looking at my show clock and making sure that I'm staying on time as I take a sip. This is lemon, ginger, cardamom, I think, and honey. The best defense is a good offense. Make sure you're getting healthy, natural ingredients in your body so you can be fortified and have a strong defense against some of this stuff that's floating in the air. So the final segment. I need some new moves, y'all. Oh, me and my family were laughing about this dance. Like, is that dance old or not? My daughter said it's old. My husband and I said, no, not so much. But what's playing in the background never gets old. All right. Final segment. Our favorite segment. Fashion. Yay! Final segment is fashion usually. Almost always I do fashion last. And so I want to talk a little bit about spring trends. What's popping for spring? Now, I know it's hard to talk about spring fashion and that kind of thing because right now people are concerned about the immediacy of what's going on in the media. But you know what? We're going to still talk about looking good because even, this is the thing about fashion for me. One of the reasons why I love fashion is that when you look good, you feel good. And sometimes in people who suffer from mental and emotional issues or illnesses, one of the things that people who suffer from depression and anxiety constantly have to battle with and tell themselves is to get up and get dressed. And not just get dressed, but look good, take care in what you wear. So fashion is important. Now, when you're trying to just battle your mental health, do you have to be on the cutting edge of trends? No, but I'm just saying that to say, there's a reason why we love fashion. So spring trends, so many trends out there that we are loving, that we're seeing just coming off the runways for the spring fashion shows. We're seeing, and a couple of them, although they're spring trends, some of them are not necessarily new. Some of them have been just going strong for a couple of seasons. One of the ones that's been going strong for a couple of seasons is neon. I love neon. I actually did a blog post about it. I think it's because of my days in the 80s, like neon was the thing. And it's back, it's going strong, it hasn't gone anywhere. So neon continues to be a hot thing for spring. And our girls are showing us how to do neon, looking fantastic and fabulous. One of the things that I talk about neon is that you can do something like an all over neon look, like in some of these photos. And I will say none of these are any of my designs. And this is not my runway show. This is not my styling. This is just style inspo of some folks that we saw coming down the runway. And I'm always looking for models of color to be on the runway. So if I see one in the photo, I'm using it. But we've got a pants look, we've got a short mini skirt look, we've got some flowiness happening. So there's so many ways to do neon. And you can do a head to toe look like what you see on your screen, Or one of the things I like, and I don't know if I posted a picture of it, but on one of my blogs I did. I love the idea of, and what makes it look modern is doing neon with neutral tones. So that means you can do, that neon green with a tan, a mauve, a beige, a gray. Gray. I love it with gray. So if you aren't into like the head to toe neon look. And so that's one of the big spring trends. I think I have another photo. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So sis in the middle is killing it with this long flowy dress. I believe that dress is a Valentino look. And that particular dress is showing us not only the neon trend, but also the trend of tiered looks. So skirts that have multiple tiers going down and dresses that have multiple tiers going down. And she's got that beautiful flowy fabric on. And so for spring, pull those neons back out. Match them with some neutrals, match them with your denim, and have fun with it. If you're in the house, put something on, put some bright clothes on to make yourself feel encouraged. There's the same girl with that neon green. That's also a Valentino look. But the pink with the feathers at the bottom, super strong with that thigh high boot. And that's what I mean by pairing your neons with another color that may not be a neon. She's got that on with the black and white boot, a snakeskin tie up gladiator boot. The model all the way on the other side of the screen, she's got neon. That's like a neon orangish color mixed down with a red. So we're also seeing some of this idea of having colors that are close to one another on the color wheel as a matching ensemble. So have fun with it. And I tried to put on, this t-shirt has a little bit of neon in it. I try to, when I'm talking about fashion, if I have it in my closet, I try to show it with my outfit for the day. The other trend, is that all I have for neon? Yeah? Okay. Thank you, Afiba. The other trend for spring that I'm going to talk about today is, you know what? Oh, the other trend that I'm going to talk about is leather. Yes, we are seeing leather in the springtime, guys. Now, we typically think of leather as it's not even really a wintertime fabric, because if you've ever worn leather in the winter, especially back in the day in the 80s, you wearing leather pants, and some of you all who are over a certain age still wearing your leather pants. And you go outside in the winter, you are cold. So they're not really truly a winter fabric. Leather is not truly a winter fabric unless it's, you've got layers on with it. But it is a great fabric for the fall, and we are seeing leather for the warm weather for the spring. And we're seeing leather coming up in all these amazing colors. So on your screen, you see a ruffled tiered skirt in that fantastic turquoise. That's one of my favorite colors. And if you look at that particular pairing in the middle, that's giving you a little bit of that inspo of what I was talking about in terms of neon and how you do a neon with a neutral. That bright pink, that bright turquoise skirt with that tan jacket, fantastic. And she's got it mixed in with a little red and a pop of color with the yellow shoe. But one of the things, then that full leather trench coat. So we're seeing leather in shirt dresses or coat dresses. So not leather as just outerwear, but leather as in your actual clothing items. So we've got this beautiful lavender coat dress, and she's got a top on underneath of it that's the same color, and she's got the collar pulled out, because what they're telling us is that the disco collar is back. You guys Google it if you're not sure. You got to pull it all. That's when the collar is all the way out here underneath your jacket. So I love a popped collar, but so she's got that beautiful lavender or periwinkle almost leather coat dress. So with your leathers, one of the things that is also a big deal is the fact that we're not discriminating and talking bad about folks who have on faux leather. Because, years ago, it had to be genuine leather. If it wasn't genuine leather, they were talking about you. Now, faux leather is actually a really, really big trend as well as the genuine leather. And they've got faux leather now that looks amazing. So the dress that I have on today is a little faux leather something, something. This is actually another example of a shirt dress. I just left the top open, put a little pop of color underneath to show how even if it's springtime, if you've got a dark color leather, you just pair it with something that's bright and colorful, that gives it a little bit of pop, makes it fun for the spring. Wintertime, I can close this up, or I could put another black or something different, a heavier fabric underneath. But this is one of those pieces that's going to transition me from season to season. And so, yes. And so here, this model is rocking this, leather jumpsuit, or sometimes they call them boiler suits. Again, it doesn't look like it's spring because it's all black, but it's spring. And right now with the weather being somewhat unpredictable, different trends are bleeding into one another. And so here's another example of how leather is showing up on the runways. Let me see, what else do I have? Oh, I love this two-piece. Green is another big color for the spring. It almost always is though, right? Because like green sort of represents that optimism, that rebirth, that budding of something new and new possibility. And this particular outfit, she's rocking that two-piece look, that corseted top, because corsets are also big this year. You can do structured corset looks. You can also do sort of lingerie corset looks. But in this particular one, she's got that midi length skirt on, two-piece. So if you're going to be doing leather, you can break it up. It doesn't have to be head to toe. It doesn't have to be one piece that's connected. You can do a two-piece leather. You can do leather skirt with a t-shirt. You can do leather shirt. Leather shirts are coming back, all different lengths too, like the regular length of a shirt or a long kind of like a shirt dress, like I was saying, and mix and match. And she's got the white boot. And so, yeah, leather is big for the spring. What else do I have? I think that's it I have for leather. So the two trends that I want you guys to try. I want you to try the neon trend, because I know I won't say I know. If you are one who has been following the trends for the past couple of seasons, you got something neon in your closet. If you don't want to do a neon outfit, you may want to do a t-shirt. You may want to do a cute pair of earrings. You may want to do a hat. You may want to do a belt. But throw some neon in there. If you want to just throw it in as an accent piece, mix it in with your neutrals. Mix it in with some things, colors that will sort of be a contrast and you don't feel as bright if that's not your thing. So try that neon trend and try that leather. Now, I will tell you, you can either go and get you something new, but you can always do thrifting. We talked about that in one of my other shows. You can go get a cute little, I was at Fia's Fabulous Finds this morning. It's a local thrift store here. She did a fill-a-bag event. It was $35 and fill up the bag with as much stuff as you can fit in there. But I tried on a jacket today that was like a mint green leather jacket that was so, so cute. And in the past, I bought like a champagne color blazer that was leather. So you don't have to go and break the bank to get you a cute leather piece. Just thinking about how you want to pair it. Do you want to pair it with a t-shirt? Do you want to pair it with jeans and a button up? Do you want to pair it with over top of a dress? The possibilities are endless. If you can find a jacket, if you may can find pants, you may can find that long coat type of deal. I know these thrift stores got leather trenches because that was the thing back in the day. If you do get a leather trench, make sure you modernize it with some other pieces so you look fresh. I love a vintage look, but you got to have something modern paired with it so that it doesn't look dated. And so with that, I would like to tell you guys to please be well, tell you guys to take care, practice social distancing, but also practice staying connected in creative ways. I will hopefully see you guys next Sunday if we are still here, God willing. If the studio is still open. If not, Afiba and I are going to do it via some other kind of way technologically to keep the show going, because the show must go on. And so I will see you next Sunday from 5 to 6. This is Sharonda with Art Loves Fashion. Follow me on Instagram at Sharonda Irving. And if you missed the show, I will be posting the link. I don't know. If you watched it and you want to watch it again, I will be posting the YouTube link in about an hour or so. So in the meantime, everyone, stay well, and I'll see you soon. Welcome to Art Loves Fashion. I'm your host, Sharonda Irving. I'm an image consultant, professional developer, art curator and collector, a wife and a mom. This show, Art Loves Fashion, is about, you guessed it, art, love, and fashion. We'll be meeting new people, trying interesting things, and hopefully learning something new. Sounds kind of vague, right? That's because I want you to join me on Sundays at 5 o'clock as we take a journey of all things creative and beautiful with Art Loves Fashion.